Hello, Epic Gamers. I finished crouching. So, I wanted to take the opportunity to quickly explain, and by quickly I mean it's probably going to take forever, knowing myself, but quickly explain what I've been doing and why this is cool. I'm going to turn down the volume a bit. I'll also explain the stair stepping, because the crouching and the stair stepping are kind of related in a way. First of all, I realized that just increasing physics frame rate just helps all the time. I don't know why, I mean, I do know why, because my code executes more times per frame. But I don't really know why I wasn't able to fix this by just doing a bit more code. I'll have to look into it. But for now, increasing the physics frame rate solves problems with that and problems with rigid bodies that include them clipping. Anyway, so how does stair stepping work? Basically, stair stepping and crouching does low-level calls to the physics server of the engine to see if to see if my shape, without actually moving, it's kind of like move and collide, but it's kind of like test only and move and collide, except it's not in only one direction, because I can chain them. So I can go move up, then move in the direction we're moving, and then move down back to our level. And then what that will do is it'll God, I can't speak. It'll basically go because okay, so let's say we looked at this right here, and this stair in particular, and we were to collide on it. Well, we would collide on it. What would we do to check? Well, we could move in that direction, and then we'll just detect a wall. We can't really get the detection of where we intersect with it, because that's not because we would intersect at an infinite amount of points. So what we can do instead is, instead of just doing a move and collide that moves that way, because that doesn't give us enough information, we do a low-level physics API request to trace our shape up. If we get a collision, we ignore it. I mean, we stop the process. Then we trace that way in the direction we're moving. Again, if we get a collision, we stop the process. If those two have succeeded, then we trace back down to our Y level. And this is like a move and collide, but from this area. And then we will simply teleport to that location. And since this happens so often per frame, the teleportation happens just barely on the edge. So, I mean, it has zero impact on your velocity. The only reason I learned about this low-level physics API and this specific algorithm was because I'll link him in the description, but some guy in the community made a visual aid and a sample project for imitating Quake in terms of their stair stepping algorithm. Literally, like, ported Quake stepping algorithm to Godot. I had to fix several bugs with his when I imported it into mine, because I didn't literally copy paste. I just had to make, because there were bugs that I noticed with his that I wanted to fix on my own. But anyway, now that I have that explained, Crouching. Okay, so crouching is a little bit more complicated. Before, what I would just do is I would just shrink my shape, and that's it. This has a bit of problems. I shrink my shape, and then I get snapped, right? And that's kind of what happens here. But when I would unshrink my shape, we would have a bit of a problem because then we would be colliding. So the physics engine is built to automatically put me out of a collision, as in like scoot me out to a place that is not where I'm not colliding. It's not really predictable. So if I was like stuck under a branch of a tree, I might teleport like through a wall or something. So we don't want to do that. So instead, I want to make absolutely sure that I can be where I am. And how I accomplish that is, because basically if I crouch like that, I can uncrouch, right? If I crouch and then I move like this, then I can no longer uncrouch. Why is this? Because I trace a projection of me being uncrouched and offset the origin to where my origin would be if I was uncrossed, and see if bodies are colliding with me, with my virtual thing in that situation. If they're not, we can just pop up. I have it bound to inputs, and also it checks for a loop if you're not, so that way you can let go of shift and then walk out, and it'll pop you back up. And so, yeah, that basically means that you can go and stuff like that, and you'll be totally fine. And the reason why you're totally fine is because you wouldn't have enough room to uncrouch. And so previously, it would just, I should draw like a diagram. It would just put you back to your normal size, and then you get stuck in this area and can't move. Or the engine might be generous and might teleport you out of it, but that's not very reliable. Now, because I wanted to make it so that when I'm crouching, I'm pulling my legs under me for crouch jumping, I have to offset I have to basically teleport my player a very specific value. I basically have to teleport my player half the value of my new crouch height, because my player's origin is at the middle. And so if my new crouch height is like, which it is one unit, I'm a cube now. This is 2 units. If I'm 1 unit, and I want to become 2 units, I would teleport myself 0.5 units when crouching. This might seem like it would be problematic, but the reason why it's not is because our shape is decreasing. So if our shape was decreasing, we would be decreasing towards the origin of our shape, and so we would kind of be shrinking from the top and the bottom. If I'm offsetting it perfectly at the same position that like we're shrinking, but on the top part, it's as if the top part of the shape is not moving, which is perfect. Hang on, I tried to. Oh, that seems about right. I had issues where like beginning to climb a slope would have like would lower your velocity, or not lower your velocity, but kind of take a quick pause in velocity. But I fixed that by adding another move and collide check. Anyway, when we uncrouch, we do the same thing but just in reverse. So we would lower our teleport down, teleport a bit down, and then increase our scale, so that we would also be not teleporting down, we're actually teleporting up. just because, well, not up. We're teleporting back down to 0, but the issue with it is that our bottom part is increasing, so we need to offset that again. Anyway, the point is, it works flawlessly, and I'm very, very proud of myself. I gave myself a nice pat on the... I don't fucking know. But yeah. It's very flexible. Like, you can even do it in combination with stair stepping, because the crouching happens like in between a frame, and since it happens per input event, and it's very flexible because we don't have to worry about getting stuck anymore. And this is kind of how the Source engine does it, because if you crawl into a vent, you don't need to constantly hold shift. It's just going to keep you in a crouched position if you already crouched into a vent. I'm trying to find a good place where I can demonstrate that. There was like a crevice somewhere in this tree. I think like this. Yeah. You can kind of snuggle in here. And crouch jumping. We can barely make it because there's a little slope that we could climb up there. In this position, obviously, we're touching a ceiling, so we get kind of bounced off. But on top of that line, there is a slope, so if we can time a crouch jump just right. But notice that you can't just like hold crouch and expect to jump higher, because that's not how that works. Obviously, I have double jumps enabled, but you need to... I'm so happy. It's hard for me to express how happy I am. I can't wait for other like small collision detection bugs to be fixed with the engine and for the engine to release, because once that happens, I'll probably just like move my what's it called? Move my this code. I'll move it to try to translate it to C# so that it'll run faster and to reduce the overhead. And then I'll be able to use it in my game as a complete overhaul of the engine, the engine's character controller thing. Also, yes, I suddenly am obsessed with Half-Life 1 for some reason with Gold Source, even though like its character controller is inferior to mine at this point. But I imported some of those sounds as well as the Source engine sounds. I kind of want to see what crouch jumping looks like from this perspective. I might add other cool features like wall jumping, stuff like that. The new trace algorithm of like low-level access to the physics server is like a real game changer, because it allows me to do a ton of cool stuff, like predict where I would be before I do something, like for the crouching thing. Anyway, Uh-oh. Oh, I think it was detecting a collision with the floor because I was too close to the floor. Darn it. Yeah, I might need to add a little buffer. There's like this one very, very, very small bug, but it's probably not even worth mentioning. Oh, wait. The normals aren't being... Okay, rip. Normals aren't being detected for some reason. Or not being displayed. Whatever. The little, like, yellow line is inaccurate. I must have broken that. Also, yes, it is intentional that a new step sound plays every time I do a step. So for very steep stairs, it kind of sounds like a machine gun. I think while falling, it might be a bit of a problem to do like the whole crouching thingy. Because when I'm falling and spamming crouch, sometimes I collide and the engine has to push me out. But I think that's just because the input function that detects keyboard inputs might not necessarily be synced with the physics process. But I mean, that's fine. Like, who goes down the thing spamming crouch anyways? I'm happy. There's also these like massive frame drops when I like touch these physics objects for some reason. Mostly this one. I don't understand why. I think it's around here. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, it might be because it's trying to step on these. Wait. I think it is. Okay, yeah, that's why. There's like a loop, a death spiral loop of it trying to step on all of these little edges of the mesh. I might need to find a way to double check that the stair is like wide enough to step on. But I don't feel like doing that right now. It's a weird teleporting thing. Oh, I think that's a collision detection issue with the engine. I remember seeing something with that. Like more abrupt snapping here because it's not sure what's the floor. Yeah, I'm such a perfectionist that I'll try to fix every single small precision and accuracy that I find. Because in the end, it's going to be so over-engineered that it's going to be like the best. We do a little bit of crouching. One of the side effects of my stair-stepping algorithm thing is if something's rolling, start rolling. Come back. Nope. Okay. Come back. And I could easily fix this by just adding a check to see if there's a player input. But this stuff happens, right? Where I'm constantly stepping even though my velocity is 0. My input velocity is 0. Because it's moving towards me. So I'm constantly stepping up it. And it's like destroying the eardrums. Oh no, however, will we crouch under this? Crouch. Kaboom. Anyway, thank you for watching.